Hi, welcome back to Create, Share, Inspire podcast. This is episode 490, and we're here live in Southwest Florida in my beautiful tropical backyard. If you're joining me live, please say hello. And if you end up watching the recorded podcast, please also feel welcome to say hello. I get the notifications for the recorded podcast as well. So however you leave your comment, I should be able to reply. Hi, Lisa and Dawn and Kim, Carol. Hi, Joe. Good evening, everybody, and thanks for joining live. Got lots to share with you tonight. Been a very busy beaver all day today, although that's nothing new. Hi, Muddy, and hi, Christine and Gay. Thanks, Joe. I'm making a shawl in Be So Sporty yarn in colors Raspberry Coulis and Gentle Violet, and it's so gorgeous. So I'm doing color striping where I'm changing the number of rows for each of the colors. So what's interesting, and so it doesn't repeat very obviously, and the reason being I'm using 2 colors of yarn and I'm doing a 3 stripe repeat. So 2 colors, but the stripe repeat is 1 row, 2 rows, and 3 rows. So that means it takes 6 sequences of that in order for it to repeat. So let's call Gentle Violet color A and Raspberry Coulis colorway color B. This is Be So Sporty yarn, and I'm making a top-down triangular shawl in Be So Sporty yarn. It's going to be 1 ball each of 2 colors, and I'm using Gentle Violet and Raspberry Coulis, and I've put a link in the video description for Be So Sporty yarn if you want to check out the colors yourself and choose 1 ball each of 2 colors. Then I'll be posting the pattern in the next couple of days, and you'll be able to make it as well. So in order to do this type of a color sequence, you need 2 colors and 3 stripe repeat, and that way it takes 6 stripes in order for it to repeat, and you can't really see the pattern that well, which is kind of interesting as well. So it's 3 rows of color A, 2 rows of color B, 1 row of color A, 3 rows of color B, 2 rows of color A, and 1 row of color B, and that is the 6 color sequence. So I'll say it separately, not combining the color and the stripe again. So it's 2 colors, Gentle Violet and Raspberry Coulis, and so we alternate those 2 colors throughout. But then we're doing a 3 stripe repeat, so it's 3 rows, 2 rows, 1 row, 3 rows, 2 rows, 1 row, 3 rows, 2 rows, 1 row, 3 rows, 2 rows, 1 row. And by doing a 3 stripe repeat with 2 colors, it means it takes 2 whole sets of the entire repeat for it to actually repeat. Hopefully that makes sense, and if it doesn't, it'll make more sense when the pattern comes out. But I think you can see that it's so less obvious what the stripe repeat is when you stagger the number of rows in each stripe. I absolutely love it. And so the more you did that, and so you want to make sure that your number of colors you're using is not equal to the number of stripes you're doing, and that way you can that way it can be more variegated like that. Variegated isn't the right word. Staggered. The right word. Does anybody have any questions about that? I'll keep crocheting. Oh, and just not to brag or anything, but I started this one earlier today in and around doing a million other things, and just to show you how quick this one works up, this is about, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours worth of crocheting so far while doing other things, which is not too shabby. With any luck, I should have it finished by tomorrow. But I'll wait and see if there's any questions. Thanks, Lisa. I love these colors too. It's Raspberry Coulis and Gentle Violet in Be So Sporty yarn. And I love how bright and festive and colorful they are together. It'll be beautiful if you even use this to wrap around your neck for a scarf or a cowl. That will be really pretty too. Hi, Rita. Cindy enjoyed yesterday's podcast. That's wonderful. I'm so glad. I also started uploading some new tutorial videos today, starting with the bobble stitch today, and each day for the next 4 days or so, I'll be listing other videos. So I think we're going to do a 5 double crochet popcorn, a 5 treble crochet popcorn, a 5 double crochet cluster, and a 5 treble crochet cluster. So each 4 of those videos will be coming out one every morning for the next 4 days, and they'll all be going into the Crochet Stitch Library playlist. So if you want to go to that playlist, it'll show all of those videos as well. Today I released the Bullion stitch video, and I don't know how many of you are already confident in how to make the Bullion stitch, or how many of you shy away from it because it can be intimidating. I know some people don't like to do it at all, and some people love it very much. And if you get a chance, I did do a tutorial video and released it this afternoon for the Bullion stitch. So in the beginning of the video, I show you 2 samples of doing it in right hand, then 2 samples of doing it in left hand, and then 1 sample of doing it in slow motion. So that should be super helpful. I also gave a tip that I really like when I'm doing a bullion stitch, and that is to add a yarn needle to my crochet hook to make the loops a little larger than necessary to give me more room to pull through all the loops. Because at the bullion stitch, you need to wrap the yarn 7, 8, 9, 10 or more times around the crochet hook, and then have to pull the crochet hook through all of those at the same time. And that can be really tough to do if you don't have some tips and tricks. I know that there are lots of tips out there on different ways to do it, but one of the simplest ways to do it with a trick to get it to go quickly and smoothly is to add a yarn needle. And I can show you how to do that. Where's my crochet hook? There it is. But what I thought that I would do is to really just make it a little more entertaining now. I did a 7 wrap bullion stitch in the videos. So if anybody would like to see a larger bullion stitch, I will take requests for how many wraps to wrap around my crochet hook before doing the tutorial. So if you would like to see 8, 9, 10, 11, whatever, I will certainly give it a try. All right, Lisa says 10. I may do great. I may mess up completely. I may require a couple of tries at it, but we're live, and I think that not only will it be helpful to see me successfully do 10 wraps on a bullion stitch, but I think it's also wonderful if you can see me struggle with it and see how I overcome those struggles as well. So I'm going to turn the camera down on my lap. You know what would be great is to get one of those TV trays for doing this stuff. Anyway, let's see if that works for my lap. Will that work? Yeah, that should work. Okay, so I won't be able to read your comments until we get this back up. I think that'll work. So bear with me. I'm going to be showing you a tutorial now on how to do a 10 wrap bullion stitch with my handy trick of adding the yarn needle to my crochet hook to make a nice and loose series of wraps. And in the tutorial video, which is linked in the video description, you'll see how to do this with the 7 wraps. And just for fun and entertainment tonight, we're going to challenge me and try to do a 10 wrap. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Notice how I'm not overlapping those wraps. They're all evenly placed next to each other. And now that I have the 10 wraps around my yarn needle and crochet hook together, I'm now going to insert my crochet hook only into the next stitch in the body of work, and yarn over and pull up a loop. Now I want to make sure that my crochet hooks, the hook of my crochet hook is facing up directly towards the yarn needle. And I'm going to pull it through all of those stitches that were stretched out on top because of that yarn needle on top. And as I get to the last stitch here, now I'll turn my hook down and pull it through. And voila, we've got a 10, sorry, I'm talking with the yarn needle in my mouth. We've got a 10 wrap bullion stitch. And that worked really well on the first try. Okay, I'm gonna peek down. Who wants, someone else pick a number? Anything between 7 and, I don't know, maybe we'll try more than 10. Does somebody want to pick another number? Let's see how high I can go. I'm gonna try to read them for a second. 7 and 4, those are smaller. Let's try something bigger. I think I see a 13. What the heck? Let's try it. We won't know until we try. Okay, so we'll try 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, and we've got those sitting together, the yarn needle and the crochet hook. I'm going to insert the crochet hook only into the next stitch. I think the tricky part here is making sure that you don't, as I'm sliding the loops back and forth on the yarn needle and the crochet hook, it would be easy to lose the yarn needle at this point. So it's really difficult to try to get that crochet hook through that stitch without losing the stitches on the yarn needle. Okay, so now I'm going to move my crochet hook so that the hook is facing up towards the yarn needle so that it's going to be hooking through or sliding through all those loops in that wiggle room gap that's between the crochet hook and the yarn needle. And I'm just going to pull it all the way through. Oh my God, we did it. And so now we've got the last loop. We'll turn the hook down to grab that one, and we will slide that yarn needle off. And I'm gonna, oh goodness, why is this so tight? And lift the crochet, or lift the camera back up. So we've got a 10 wrap bullion stitch, and we've got a 13 wrap bullion stitch. And so, and then we do a yarn one to tighten. So as you can see, you can get the fundamentals of this technique by watching the video on how to crochet the bullion stitch. And that video is the most recent upload on my YouTube channel, and I put a link to it in this video description too. Why is this so tight? My goodness, what did I do? I can't remember which one is the knob for this. Is that it? There we go. Anyway, so if you want to see the fundamentals with slowed down, up close, right hand, left hand, and slow motion, watch the video that's in this video description. It'll show you a link to watch the how to crochet the bullion stitch. And then just now, did I lose? Oh, I thought I unraveled my stitch. I didn't. And then if you can go back and watch this podcast again, you can see how we experimented with more wraps. So clearly you can add as many wraps as you like. We did 7 wraps in the tutorial video, and then we did 10 wraps on this stitch, and we did 13 wraps on that stitch. And as you could see, I didn't have any hang-ups at all. It was just as smooth to do the larger number of wraps as it was to do the smaller number of wraps. And I really have to attribute that to creating that extra wiggle room for the hook to get through by wrapping the yarn around the crochet hook with the yarn needle first. This can be a really tough stitch to master without having tips and tricks like that. You're welcome, Rhonda. You're welcome, Rhonda. Naomi said it would be a wonderful stitch for something, and I couldn't read what the rest of it was. Let's see. Tammy purchased a necklace kit. Wonderful. Thank you very much. I will ship that as soon as I can. We have kitties out here joining us tonight. Oh, I've got something else to show you. Well, let's wait and see if there's any more questions about the bullion stitch. Otherwise, I will put this down and I'll grab my shawl because I do want to keep working on that. I'm anxious to finish it. I want to be able to wear this. I'm so in love with the colors. Oh, but I said I was going to show you something else too. So I guess I got to put this down for a minute. And ta-da! The 88 Crochet Stitch Dictionary is now available on Amazon, so you can have a print copy that shows you all of the 88 crochet stitch, all of the chart symbols, and the glossary definitions for all of them as well. This is such a wonderful resource to keep in your project bag or just keep handy. It's not very big, so it's easy to throw into a project bag or your purse. We don't always have access to the internet or don't always want to be opening up a new browser window. So to just have a quick and easy reference tool to remember what the different chart symbols mean and also how those stitches are worked. I have the glossary definition written out in long form for all of the stitches in here. This is a small booklet, like I said, very convenient to pop into your bag or to take somewhere where you're not going to be spending a lot of time on the internet. It's great if you're going to be doing something zenful or quiet and you don't want to be connected to the internet. It's a great resource to have around for those times. It is $7.99 and it's available on Amazon Prime all over the world in all of the Amazon markets. You can find the link in this video description for the Amazon US version of the book, but if you go to my blog, I think it's either today's blog or yesterday's blog post, and I show you the links to all of the Amazon markets all over the world that carry it. So you can get it in Australia, Japan, UK, Canada, Italy, France, Spain, Germany, and I've probably missed quite a few, but all of the Amazon markets. So no matter where you live, you can find this book, and there are links in the video description for that as well. Thanks, Naomi. I think it's a great resource too. I'm very excited. I'm not only excited to make it, but I'm excited to have it as well. Okay, back to crocheting, and I will try to look up and see if there's any questions. So the treble crochet stitch tutorial PDF should be out in the next couple of days too, and I will be sharing that with you when it comes out. What else? I don't know. Let's see what kind of questions we have tonight. I've been doing all the talking. Thanks, Lisa. Oh, we have a Becker boo-boo. Hi, baby. And Bjorn's off camera tonight, too. Trying to go to my blog. I did not catch the rest of that. It's getting dark out here. It's harder to read the comments. I'm trying though. If your comment's important and I don't get to it while we're live, please feel welcome to repeat your comment or question when the podcast goes recorded, because then I have the ability to not only get notifications, but then I have the ability to read the comments and then reply to you as well. Oh, somebody left a great comment yesterday and I didn't reply to it because I thought it would be more fun to do it with a show and tell on the podcast, but I had stuff to show you tonight, so I didn't do it tonight, but I will do it soon. Somebody was asking about why and when do you use different, and this question applied to both crochet hooks and knitting needles. She was saying, when would I use a straight knitting needle versus a double point versus a circular? And when would I use a plastic or a wooden or a bamboo or a metal set of knitting needles. And then she said, I would also like to know this information for crochet hooks as well. So it was a general question about tools, about where and when you would want to use the different ones, and if you would want to have a variety of them. And I think it basically comes down to preference, but I will bring samples of all of those one day to the podcast, and we can talk about all of them then. So I thought it was a really wonderful question, and just giving you an example that when I get questions like that, so always feel welcome to ask your questions, because I think that sometimes they're wonderful topics for future podcasts as well. And some people are giving thumbs up because they like the podcast. Thank you so much. If you enjoy the podcast, please feel welcome to give it a thumbs up. I know YouTube loves to hear that kind of stuff. And also, if you enjoy the content of my YouTube channel, please consider subscribing to the channel and also clicking the bell notification button next to the subscribe button. And that's how you get notified when I go live or when I have a new video available. I was reading something on the back end of my YouTube channel today that there is a statistic for how many people have subscribed. There's a number, right? And then there's a number for how many people have signed up for notifications. And then there's a third number for how many people have actually turned on notifications for the YouTube app on their device. How interesting is that? How crazy that they know this information. But so I saw that there was a pretty wide disparity. Is that the word? There was a pretty wide difference, just in case I got the word wrong, between who signed up for the bell button notifications and who actually followed through and opened up notifications on their device as well. So for those of you that have been talking about this in the past and have said, I subscribed and I signed up for notifications, but I'm still not getting notified when you go live. The reason being is that you have to go to, let's say you're watching on your phone or you're watching on your tablet, you have to go to notifications on that device and scroll down to, so it's somewhere in your settings, you'll go to notifications, you have to check the YouTube app's notifications and make sure that notifications are turned on. And so if you haven't done that, that's very likely the reason why you're not getting the notification that you want. So if anyone has questions about that, it would probably be easier to help with technical questions if you save those comments for the recording. But it was very interesting when I could see those statistics today that there was a rather large difference between the number of people who have turned on notifications but have not yet done it on their devices. So I thought it was worth sharing. That I think we are closer to solving a problem. Okay, Sherry's not getting mailing list emails. Well, that's a whole different animal, and that might have to do with junk mail or any number of other things on regarding your email or the devices that you get your email onto. That's a whole different animal. You could check and see if the email that I use for the email address that I use, if that's in your contacts. You could see if it shows up in your junk folder. Sometimes there's multiple junk folders as well. Like if you're using a web-based email, there's the junk folder that comes to your device, and then there's a separate junk folder if you open up a browser and go to internet-based email. And then that depends on whether or not you're using different kind of email where you're using a server, because then you could contact whoever your server provider is and see if there's another junk folder there. It gets really complicated. But Millie wants to know what I'm making. I'm making a crochet shawl, and I talked an awful lot about these beautiful stripe sequences when we first started the podcast, so I would highly recommend going back and if you didn't make it to the beginning of the podcast, I would recommend coming back and watching the beginning of it when it gets recorded so that you can see all of the cool information I shared about this staggered stripe that I've done in 2 colors of Be So Sporty yarn. This is colorway Gentle Violet and Raspberry Coulis, and I explained briefly how you come up with the ratio even for how to do a staggered stripe like this. This pattern will be available in a couple of days, and the yarns are available now. The pattern will require 2 balls of Be So Sporty yarn. I'm doing it in the 2 colors. You could certainly do it in 1 color as well, but if you wanted to do the exact same colors, it would be Gentle Violet and Raspberry Coulis, and I shared a link to shop the different colors of Be So Sporty yarn in the video description. Okay, I think some other people are finding my information about notifications helpful. Well, that's wonderful. Great. Uh-oh. That's mine, sweetheart. Hello from New York. Lisa loves Be So Sporty yarn. Me too. I love it too. It's got such beautiful drape. Yes, it's getting dark, which means we'll have to start thinking of something else to do in the evening once daylight savings time ends. I think we'll start doing the evening podcast in my studio, and might even be starting to do that sooner than later because this is getting pretty dark out here. I'm having a hard time reading, you're having a hard time seeing, and I sure as heck having a hard time crocheting into these stitches. Yeah, but it'll be a good excuse to do some of the podcasts in the studio and maybe get a little more techie or a little more tutorial-ish in the evenings. We could actually do, it might be a better setting to, it would be a better setting for styling video, for doing some styling. Also, if I get a longer, what do you call it, extension cord, I could bring a lamp out here. And I figured once it gets a little cooler, we can turn on my fire pit. That'll be fun out here too, and that'll give some light. Gay, my kitties rarely attack yarn. Rarely, rarely. They're very well-behaved boys. Who knew? Yeah, I just need to get a longer extension cord, Joe. If I get like a 25 foot extension cord, I could bring my magnifying lamp out here. I could bring any lamp out here. And once it gets a little cooler, I'm going to start turning on my fire pit too. If you want to see what fire pit I use, you can find that in my Amazon shop. And I will definitely be turning it on in the evening soon, and that's going to be so fun. Yeah, party lights would be fun too, but I don't know how I'd hang them because this is a rental, and I would hate to damage my my landlord's beautiful screened-in porch. So, not sure about how to do the party lights, but I'll figure something out. All right, well, we are almost out of time, so if somebody would like to pick a number between 1 and 5, we can try to grab a quote here. Oh yeah, happy October. First day of October today. That's exciting. Let's see, Migdalia says number 3. So we'll go to book number 3, and let's see how well I can read in the dark. Okay, this is a Chinese proverb. I might even use the phone to try to turn it this way. Okay. Oh, a flower in the heart blossoms on the surface. This is a Chinese proverb. A flower in the heart blossoms on the surface. So this is another one of those quotes that kind of talks about your aura, right? And what you feel on the inside is what you project on the outside. And, you know, all of your vibes and the energy that people feel from you is all based on how you feel on the inside. And how you feel on the inside is your choice. You choose how you want to react to things outside, right? How you react to the good, bad, and ugly going on around you is all your choice. And so I really love that reminder, because we all need that reminder. We all have the good, bad, and the ugly going around us all day, every day. And if you are interested in knowing how you're perceived by the world, this is a great reminder to be more, at least try to be more positive about the things that are going on around you, because it affects your mental health. It affects your insides, and however you're feeling on the inside is what you project to the rest of the world. So I'll read the Chinese proverb once again. Actually, I'm not going to read it. I memorized it. A flower in the heart blossoms on the surface. So pretty. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Thank you all so much for taking time out of your busy evening to spend a few minutes here with me. I hope you enjoyed the sunset, the crazy tutorial with checking to see how many wraps we could do with the bullion stitch. That was really fun, getting feedback from you to see how far we could take it. And I hope you enjoyed the show and tell with my new shawl. Hopefully I'll have it finished for you in the next couple of days, and releasing a new book on Amazon. So I posted links in the video description in addition to my regular links for Be So Sporty Yarn, the 88 Crochet Stitch Dictionary, and also, and the Bullion Stitch video. Let us make time to create, share, and inspire today and every day. Have a wonderful evening, everybody, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.